Kick it off. Thanks everyone for stopping by and welcome to today's webinar. How can tech give you your time back? Sorry, how can tech give you back your time? Excuse me, rusty. With MAPS coaches Tim Beverlin and Mike Hillary. I'll make this short and sweet. Please note this meeting is being recorded, and I will share the link in the chat momentarily to the MAPS YouTube channel, where the recording will be available within 24 hours. Currently, everyone is on mute. However, we do value group participation. So we ask that if you have any questions for the coaches, please type them into the chat box. Following the meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or our other coaching programs, please feel free to email us at fasttrack, FASTTRACK at kw.com. That's all for me, guys. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Graham. Mike, you want to kick us off today?
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but like my to-do list somehow just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, even though I keep crossing stuff off of it. And so what we wanted to share with you today are some tools to really help prioritize that with what you already have. Like none of this costs you an extra dollar. What we're looking to do is help you get as much time back as you can using what we have in our hands today. So we have some systems we're going to cover. You're going to see some screenshots that you can't quite see yet, but you'll probably see very soon. And we're going to talk about really running your business on the go so you can just be in that moment more often, right? Because I don't know about you, Tim, but like having to switch back and forth burns so much time when it comes to like reorienting myself after a squirrel moment. And we have all these different things that are just reaching for my attention. And so, right, so we're going to really cut through as much of this as we can today. Sound good?
Cool. Great kickoff. And, you know, even that concept of time switching, we know that from Gary and Jay from The One Thing, talking about the cost of switching tasks and going back and forth, and the inefficiencies that can create. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. And as Graham mentioned, you'll be able to see this recording should you like to watch it again. Mike and I'll cover things quickly, and yet questions you have, pop them in the chat box, come off mute, feel free to ask them. If for whatever reason we don't answer your question in this session today due to time constraints, feel free to email either one of us after too, or both of us with whatever questions you have. So again, the topic is, how can tech give you back your time? And it really starts with tasks. Mm-hmm. So as Mike mentioned, you see some screenshots along here. Everyone see my screen okay? Just do a quick thumbs up. Good. All right. Well, Mike, all right, cool. I see a couple of their hands as well. Thank you for that. So the question that really pops up first is, what is due today?
Well, if you're in real estate sales, the number one thing that's due today is your next deal. Is finding that next lead, right? Because without that, you don't have a business tomorrow. Like you're auditioning for your role every single day.
Yeah, it is that counterbalance of how do I make my current business or my today business feel like the most important thing I have going on, while at the exact same time, search for that next piece of business to fill my pipeline. So what we put up here is being more purposeful in your time. Is a big part of that is actually the order in which you operate your day. So knowing what should be done first. I heard it said really eloquently, which that word just didn't come out. Of course, that was going to happen when you bring up.
When you say eloquently,
of course, say it eloquently. Come out that way. So welcome to the blooper reel that we've already started. And yet what was said was own your morning. And if you own your morning, you own your day. So going back to the tasks, are you utilizing tasks, or how could you be utilizing tasks to inform your schedule of what's most important that I do first?
Mm-hmm. And when you operate from a 1-3-5 and a 4-1-1, you know exactly what you need to be purposeful on that week. The trick is getting your brain to remember, oh yeah, I said this was important. And so this is where a tool like tasks in the command applet really helps me out. So whatever goes on my 411 this week, and I'll be honest, for me, it's even like get a hold of a contractor so we can hang the curtains in here, because I clearly drilled a little too far and broke something. That's on my task list for today. but I would not have remembered that I thought about that on Friday unless I put it in the app.
So you just touched on something great, Mike, is tasks can be for your actual real estate transactions, as well as just my general, I must do this list. I need to accomplish this on Monday. It's Friday. I've got the weekend in between that ideally I'm spending with those people that I care about the most, unplugging from my job as a real estate professional. So I can pop it in there while it's front of mind to remind myself Monday morning, okay, what are those most important things that I need to accomplish first, such that by doing it, everything else in my day falls in alignment.
Mm-hmm. And you'll notice right on this screen, right, we have contacts tasks and we have opportunities tasks. Because, as Tim was saying, right, we're balancing future business and today's business. So your future business, that lead generation task that you said you were going to follow up with this person, that goes on your contacts tasks, right? Hey, I need to call this person to find out where they're at. The opportunities, this is what you already have in the pipeline. These are the people that have an active deal. They have something you need to take care of as the professional. And so those will show up under opportunities tasks.
So another way maybe to say that is the contacts is the personal conversation, opportunities is the professional conversation, or the personal to-do list or must-do list versus my professional or my business must-do list between contacts and opportunities. And it's a good way just to kind of think about those two applets going forward. How would I communicate with this person in a personal relationship versus how would I communicate with this individual in a transactional or business relationship? And if you think about it from that two lens, with the way that it exists today, it's an easy way to shift between the two and see what's most important.
Yeah, and the last question we have on this slide is how do I avoid distractions? Well, you kind of put the blinders on. So what's really nice about this screen is if you have a task assigned to a certain contact, when you click into it, you can click their phone number and make the call. You can click that phone number and send them the text without getting distracted by having to leave the screen and then go find your messages applet, remember how to spell their name, and then hit send.
And when you come back from sending that message, Command's going to ask you if you'd like to create an activity that timeline, which is incredibly helpful as well. Yeah. So I can put notes in right then when it's front of mind with really useful facts about how that conversation went, or maybe I left a voicemail or they haven't yet replied. So I can make my database ultimately smarter. So here's an activity to consider. And Mike and I haven't talked about this. So Mike, sorry if you didn't see this coming. And yet everybody pull out your phones. Take a look at, we're going to just pick any of your favorite social media sites. I don't want you to navigate to that site. I want you to find the app. How freeing would it be, and scary, if you just deleted that app from your phone right now for your favorite social media site? How do you avoid distractions? You take them off your phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tim, I just did that for 20 days in a row in May. And I have like 5,000 people who have my cell phone number.
And did your world fall apart?
No, actually, everything was a lot better when I got back. So clearly I need to go on vacation more often. Like we threw 2 major events. I just needed to show up, do my thing. Nobody really left my world. No deals fell apart. Like it was the best vacation yet.
And life is great. You moved forward. All right. So did anybody just delete one of your favorite social media apps right from your phone? Now, I should have warned you. I hope you know your password to get back in. And yet we'll be okay. We'll figure that part out next if we need to. I had this conversation with an agent. They deleted their favorite social media app. And what happened is they gave themselves back some time. Now, for those of you that pushed back and said, no way, I can't do that. That's crazy. You're crazy. And a lot of other things may have come to your mind. There's another option, and we'll unpack this in one of our future sessions in our group program together. Yet you can turn your phone to grayscale to eliminate color from your phone. And Mike, have you ever done that with your device?
I have not done grayscale, but I have done some burying.
Okay. What happens when you transition it that it doesn't have the color scheme that you're used to?
It just doesn't, your brain processes it differently, and it doesn't see it as that shiny. It's like, oh, that's kind of boring. There's not enough going on here to catch my eye.
Yeah. I spoke with an agent last week that decided to do that 2 weeks prior to that. So they had 2 weeks of grayscale on their phone. And what this agent shared with me is he gave himself back productivity by not scrolling. He said scrolling in grayscale is incredibly boring by comparison to seeing it in bright, vibrant colors. So what he decided going forward, from Monday to Friday, when he operates his sales business, his phone's in grayscale. The weekends, that's his time. The evenings, if he chooses to, that's his time. He could turn it back onto the color scheme. So we'll walk through that process in the future. But one way to avoid distractions is to eliminate them. Mm-hmm. Eliminate those distractions from your world.
Yeah, and you can systematically do that too, right? It's not just like, oh, here's one setting. Because a lot of this comes down to the habits we've set and the promises we think we need to keep, that we just need a little help keeping them, right? So what are kind of those systems that provide leverage? In the command world, this is smart plans, right? There's something wonderful about this because, Tim, I did this with 600 people to invite them to an event. I only had to hit send once, and then the event sold out in about 5 days. Because because it was going to be the same message to everybody. Why not automate it?
So you made that message feel personal and yet had a system behind it that allowed you to have your time back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's enabling you to be more human more often, right? And like the number one pushback, Tim, I get from this is, well, aren't they going to be able to tell it's not from me? The answer is, well, if you wrote it and it sounds like something you would say, they're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Isn't it amazing how scripted we are in real life? We probably say the same thing every time somebody says, hey, Mike, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
That's a script that you've just internalized over time. You say it. Now, that doesn't feel any less authentic to me as the receiver. It still feels like I'm talking to Mike. You said it the first time we met each other to the last time we talked to each other. It all sounds the same. It's you, your authentic self. So don't overthink it is another way to say that. The other part is if it does feel like it's automated, who cares? We get automated things every single day that we reply to.
Yeah, I mean, my text messages are from Wayfair, they're from Amazon, they're from like so many different just notifications at this point. Like I know I'm rescheduling my haircut. I know they're using a system, but it still sounds like my barber.
Yeah, we see this from checking in for hotels, checking in for flights, automated touches that just allow whatever company's behind it to be more efficient in their time. So we put some examples on here of some of those touches. So birthday touches, great thing to use with command. One of the few that actually looks at that date and uses it. Every year it happens every December 10th. I get a text message from this 267 number wishing me a happy birthday. And every year I see the same thing. Whose number is this? And every year it's mine. It's my Twilio number that's sending myself a happy birthday because I'm on my own smart plan. And some of you are laughing because you probably experienced something similar. And yet it's a system that I set when birthday plans came out and haven't touched it since. Every year, Command's just rerunning that birthday smart plan, which is really effective.
Yeah, and Andy Hannigan, who's a MAPS coach out of St. Louis, I'm clearly on his birthday smart plan because I get the text and I get the phone call every year.
Both. Which is a way to, so that automation is kind of interesting too, because not only is the system doing the touch, the system's also reminding Andy to make the touch too, thereby making him more human, as Mike so well put earlier in our session together today. Then we go down to events. Mike, you talked about that already, a 5-day lead up to an event, sell it out quite quickly by having purposeful touches. I put an asterisk intentionally next to market conditions. How rapidly are they changing these days?
We're counting in days at this point, right?
We are counting in days. Interest rates up and down, days on market up and down, kind of looking at it from all different lenses. You could be watching the recording of this and market conditions will likely have changed from the time we're doing this live. You may be here live with us and watch this again in a week and they've already changed again. So asterisk next to market conditions, be careful how far out in advance you automate that touch.
Mhm. It's also market conditions is a great use case for the one-step smart plan, and we'll walk through that like later on in our fast track program. But it's amazing how powerful a single pinpointed message can do to convert someone into action if they're just kind of sitting on the fence.
Yeah. And I didn't add it in yet. Listings, of course, could be another single step smart plan, or perhaps you're sending out a smart plan to a site that you update the site, like a landing page, and the content on the site changes regularly, and yet the smart plan remains the same. A while ago, I bought a website called quarterlyupdates.com. Was amazed that that was available and inexpensive, and just had a place for my quarterly magazine to live, for that consumer magazine, to just constantly direct traffic to the same site and allow my consumers to see that over and over again. So we'll talk about some of those best practices as well. If you're wondering what DOM is, days on market, some of these terms may be slightly different in each of your marketplaces. We'll use generalizations of terms and then bring together some best practices. And last but not least, price trends. What are prices doing right now in Chicago, Mike?
Well, it depends on what you look at. Single family homes, they're going up. Condos, they're pretty flat.
Yeah. And I'm making an assumption here, so correct me if I'm wrong, which is always a dangerous doing in a live session. Each neighborhood probably has a different set of trends.
Yeah. If I were to like show you it, you'd be like, okay, this just looks like a Jackson Pollock painting, right? There's just random arrows up and down everywhere.
So what we know from Gary in Shift is we need to be the local economist of choice. Interpret our local data in our local area to better inform our potential buyers and sellers when is the right time to buy, sell, invest, rent, be a landlord, buy commercial property, buy land, buy dirt, in whatever market we're experiencing in. And that's where you step in as that local professional. So we're going to automate some of those. Some of those we're going to bring to you other best practices to automate parts. And parts of that automation might be a task reminding you, update your numbers so you can send it to your entire database this week, which transitions quite nicely into on the go.
Yeah. And so this is one of those applets within Command that you're going to start to see more and more show up on your phone. So the most important thing we have right now is kind of that snapshot. Like, okay, so hey, I'm out in the field. I got to remember what's closing this week. Oh yeah, I need to make sure we get that final walkthrough scheduled and confirmed, right? And so you're able to see your cultivate your appointments, you're active, you're under contracts. And if it's something like you're in between showings and you want to knock something out, pop into the opportunity, see what's going on, and give them a shout.
Yeah, we use some interchangeable language here. In some of your marketplaces, the next step is called, kind of we work backwards, pending or in escrow or under contract, whatever that state is that the property is no longer available for the public to come and see and make offers on in between actual closing of that property with the new homeowner. So how do you manage those steps mobily?
Well, you make sure your tasks are lined up. Right. So you put in your due dates, make sure that they match what you need to, and then you just kind of follow the list.
So what you're saying, Mike, is my job as a real estate professional or as a business owner is to follow my schedule.
It is to follow your schedule. You said you were going to do it. Let's make it easier to do it.
Okay. So have this system that makes you smarter in what to do first in order to move the opportunities forward. And then we kind of worked backwards again. Hey, what's active? What's my active listings? What are my active buyers right now? What touches do they need to experience in this market?
Yeah, even if it's the non-update update, because we're going to start to get to a point where you may list a house and it may not have 20 showings sign up the first 2 days.
Yeah, my favorite lender to work with, and yeah, we all have favorites. I get that. My favorite to work with as a professional, as a real estate professional, was someone that provided a weekly update to all of the buyers that he had pre-approved or that were under contract. And it was a every Friday video message from the loan officer saying, hey, Mike, just giving you an update here on this Friday. No movement of any kind. Just wanted you to be in the loop before you go into the weekend. Hope you have a great weekend. And he did that for every single client that he worked with. He very quickly became every real estate agent that worked with him's favorite lender because no one went into the weekend without knowing what was happening, even if it was the no update, as Mike mentioned. You could certainly automate that from a real estate professional standpoint as well, which gives you the peace of mind that every single person I'm working with right now is not going to call me over the weekend to get an update.
Yeah, and we'll talk about what that system looks like in our group training. Like there's a number of different tools you can do this. You can bootstrap it yourself. I see Josh asking in the chat, and there are tools you can really pay for that'll speed that up. Things like BombBomb. You can even do this currently with command email.
Yeah, he would have been able to. I mean, he was a loan officer outside of our ecosystem, so would have been able to accomplish this goal with command utilizing landing pages. He could have easily recorded that, had that video uploaded to a landing page, and just simply sent the link or embedded the link into a one-step smart plan. So we will absolutely walk through ways in which you can accomplish that goal and keep individuals inside of your command ecosystem, or as Mike mentioned, perhaps third party that makes sense for you to utilize for that piece of technology as well. Last but not least on this page, cultivate. What are the touches that my cultivate phase actually needs?
See, I call this the most important part of opportunities on the go. Have you ever been in line for coffee and you run into somebody and they're like, yeah, you know what, we're thinking about buying in the next 6 months. What do you end up doing with that information?
Most of the time, just putting it in my phone.
Yeah. What you can do is from the command app, you can hit that plus sign here on the screen and go ahead and create the cultivate opportunity, which when you follow the system we're going to outline in our fast track is going to be your cue to follow up with them for, are they an A buyer, a B buyer, a C buyer?
And that allows you to then know what to do next in order to move that person from a C to a B to an A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rather than, okay, wait, where did I stash this note on my phone? Or I only wrote it down on some receipt. Where'd it go?
I think it's such a great strategy. Well, also by putting it into Cultivate, this account this is a screenshot from my account. There's 7 Cultivate right now. This account has 19,000 contacts. Which one do you think is easier to manage? My 19,000 contacts or the 7 people that have raised their hand and said, I may want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the next 12 months or less?
You narrowed it down to the important few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, say that again, Mike. I interrupted you.
You narrowed it down to the most important few.
Yeah. Who has their hand up right now with now business in the next 12 months so that I can build my touch system around those individuals? It's going to be different than the other 19,000 individuals inside of this database. Now, if you're wondering right now, wow, that's terrible conversion rates. You've got 19,000 and only 7. This is it. This is my account I use for training purposes. This is not my active business. I'm a full-time coach. So breathe through it with me. It's okay. You're going to get much better numbers than that by putting in a consistent touch program that we're going to outline for you as well. All right, Mike and I have said a lot. What questions do you have? Oh, we nailed it, Mike. No questions. Everyone's awesome. You've got exactly what you need to do to use that right now. All right, somebody may be on mute.
I can't tell if they're talking to me or talking to someone on their phone.
I think it's a phone call, which is all good.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the deal. Like, it's what happens after this call that matters, right? This is all good info to like pick up, but what are you actually going to plug in and improve your business with, right? And this is what our fast track program is designed to do, right? We're taking the best practices from my research as an RTT, working with our top 150 teams. Tim is his years of coaching and experience, everything he does on the map side, right? We're distilling this down into, okay, what is your fastest, most efficient path to success following the MREA using command?
So what's the hour of the week, 30 minutes on Tuesday, 30 minutes on Thursday, that you're going to spend towards best practices to ultimately make your schedule more efficient and earn more commission? So give you back time, earn more commission, spend time where you want to spend it. So if you don't have any questions, what ahas did you get from today? I can wait. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you for raising your hand. Come on. Let us know.
Hey guys, excellent session today. Just an MCTT from Toronto checking in. To your point towards the end, identifying the opportunities. We know as we're shifting into a different market, being able to work with buyers, sellers who are motivated to make a transaction, be it 0 to 3 months, 3 months to 6, or 6 months to a year. Um, Using opportunities correctly and identifying them in the correct pipeline allows us to do exactly that, work with these people who are motivated instead of the 19,000. And I'm glad you said that because it's exactly what we're discussing in our shift call this morning, that being able to identify from a whole host of contacts in our database just comes down to using the tools and the technology that's being provided at a very high level. But to get there, you got to start somewhere. And I'd highly recommend getting in touch with people who've adopted the technology and are continuously using it. Maybe not at the topmost level, but even starting somewhere will get them a bit of a higher transaction level than they currently are.
Yeah.
So overall, great job, guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope I'm saying your name right, Mosin.
Mosin. Yep.
Mosin. All right. Thank you for sharing. That reminds me of the story of an agent, Ann Kothi, in our region, who, paying attention to that cultivate phase and really making sure each of her contacts is in there, she now has probably my favorite problem is she now has 21 deals that have gone under contract that she's currently juggling as a solo agent. My favorite problem. Oh, you have too much to do. Great. We can work on that leverage. Let's look at this system.
Great problem to have. And Jessica put in the chat box that we can organize by future and current business, personal versus transactional to determine communication. So, such a great point in there as well. How do I communicate? You know, we've used this example in other sessions, but this may be new for some of you. For those of you that drink coffee and pick your favorite coffee place that's a national or international chain, you expect your latte to taste the same in Philadelphia as it does in Toronto, as it does somewhere on the West Coast in California. And if it's not, generally speaking, something's off with the recipe. They didn't follow the recipe, or they missed a step. Part of what opportunities can do for your business and should be providing for your business is consistency in what you provide your clients, what you provide as an experience from cultivate all the way to the closing and then post-closing as well. So when you can duplicate that recipe, you'll get repeat referral business just by doing a great job and being able to turn up the dial on what's working really well. And if the recipe's off a little bit, you can go back and look at what step did I miss? What step did we miss if you're part of a team environment as well?
Yeah,
other thoughts or ahas? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, any other ahas to share?
Checklist allows for duplication. Yes, absolutely. A duplicatable experience that somebody will enjoy, that they would be happy to say, hey, you know what? You should work with Robin because she provided me with a great experience. It was easy. She made the process a joy. And they may not remember all the steps you did, and yet you've got a duplicatable system to then repeat that soy latte, whether it's Philadelphia or Sacramento or anywhere in between.
Yeah, they'll remember how they felt because of the checklist you followed and what you did.
All that experience is worth giving. Part of our mission statement. That applies to our customers too. How do we give them an experience worth having, worth experiencing? All right, other ahas or questions you may have for us together this morning or this afternoon?
No, otherwise we'll see you tomorrow, our first session.
Yeah, and I'll pop my email address in the chat box. Feel free to reach out with questions maybe you didn't want to ask in this recorded environment, or questions you may have about specifically the program. If you want to pull out your phone again and scan that QR code, that'll take you to the sign up page. The investment is 2 months. It's $199 per month for consecutive months. Kicks off tomorrow. All the sessions are going to be recorded and available for the 16 sessions that we're going to cover, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 o'clock Central Time. So in this time slot, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to build a community of all of you of best practices. We're here to help support anything we can possibly do. You've got Mike's email address. Graham put in Fast Track's email address. So whatever questions you guys have, please let us know. We're looking forward to serving this community and really having a good time along the way. You'll get plenty of bloopers for sure out of me. And we'll be good for that as well.
Yeah, I can't wait for Graham to put together the supercut of all the bloopers at the end of this session.
You got it.
Cool. Any other final thoughts today, Mike?
You know, either you can take advantage of technology, or someone utilizing it will take advantage of what you're not doing to win market share. As this market shifts dramatically, it's the agents who are performing the best practices that make it through.
I'm not going to follow that. That was really well said. So we're going to help you through that process. Anything you need along the way, please reach out. We're here to help, here to serve. Thank you for spending some time out on a Monday with us, or for watching this recording. Looking forward to seeing all of you very, very soon on a live session. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, coaches.
Thank you.